Well, hello everybody. My name is Nick Cardy. I'm an Associate Professor of Communication at Dalton State. And I'm delighted to be doing this today. I'm so glad that Dalton State, as well as other colleges in the system, noting the health benefits of living healthy lifestyles through diet and exercise. In the late 1990s, I took a little break from college teaching and actually became a personal fitness trainer. So what I want to demonstrate today is how, if you want to include resistance training in your fitness program, how you might go about doing that and focus on something I learned through my personal training certifications that has to do with being stable, how we're at least as aware of what's not moving in our body when the active muscle is working and our joints are working. So we're going to talk about that as we go through 9 exercises that involve the major muscle groups of the body. And we're at the first exercise, which we call the arm curl. And what we're going to do here is we're going to focus on what the elbow joint is doing. And I hope that what you see is that it's only my elbow joint that is going to flex and extend. And if that's the only joint moving in my body, I can be sure that in these 8 to 10 repetitions that I'm going to do, that muscle group is going to come to fatigue or near fatigue, which is what we want to happen. That's the goal of resistance training, to actually tear down your muscles a little bit so they come back stronger, and that's how we maintain or hopefully gain a little muscle mass. So if you're doing an arm curl, either with free weights or on a machine, let's just begin. And so again, I'm going to try to be stable. I'm going to firm my core muscles in the abdomen, and I'm going to realize that where I start is where I finish. So I'm going to start right here, about a ½ inch of engaging my bicep, and I'm going to come through a full range of motion. And when I come back down, I'm not going to go beyond that point. I'm also going to count a rhythm of 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. So about 2 seconds doing the work, about 3 seconds when we're coming down and the muscle is extending. Let's also talk about how breathing is important. We want to get nice oxygenated blood to the muscle groups. So here, let's exhale. And here, let's inhale. Now, I don't know how many repetitions that is, but let's say that this is 7, and then let's say that this is 8. And what I know for sure is that weight is a little bit too light for me, but at some point in our video today, we'll find a weight on a given exercise where we're going to fatigue or near fatigue. Okay, we'll be at the next exercise in just a minute. So the next exercise is what we call the chest press, and this one is a 2-joint exercise. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my hands on the handles here, and I'm going to raise my elbows about as high as my elbow joint. And I'm going to be aware that when I extend my elbows, I'm also going to have active the shoulder joints, but everything else I'm going to keep stable. So I'm going to firm my abdominal muscles, and I'm going to say that from here to not quite completely extended arms, which would balance the weight, and that's not what we want, to here, the elbows just beyond the plane of the body. Those 2 joints are the only joints moving, not my wrists, which are locked, not my spine, which I would put at risk if I were moving it around. What you want to do on all these exercises is keep a neutral spinal alignment. How would your spine be if you were standing at attention? Firm your abs to keep it that way, and just resist the temptation to wiggle around when the weight starts getting heavy. And so this is going to guarantee that your triceps, your chest, and the front of your shoulder, that's what's doing the work here in this big exercise. Let's work on our breathing. 2 seconds, breathe out. 3 seconds, breathe in. And just work through our repetitions. And I know again that this weight is a little too light for me, so eventually we're going to find an exercise where you see what fatigue or near fatigue looks like. We'll go to the next exercise in just a minute. Well, here we are at the next exercise. It's sort of fun. All right, so we're doing something completely the opposite in the sense that while we're working with the front of the body over there, the chest and the front of the shoulders, now we're really working to engage the back with this exercise, which we call the row. Now, it's true, your biceps get involved here too, because this, again, is a double joint exercise. But what we want to do is make sure that the back is doing the bulk of the work. So what I want you to watch when I do these 4 lifts, because you won't be able to hear me when I turn around and do this exercise, I want you to watch how the back engages first, and then my elbows flex and come back just beyond the level with the body. and we're going to work through our 2/3 second protocol, where we're breathing out, we're exhaling with the work, and we're inhaling when the weights are coming back down, okay? So watch the back engage first, and then the secondary muscles, the biceps, then get involved when the arms come back. Okay, let's move on to our next exercise. Now this one is going to involve what we call use of free weights, and I'm simply going to have 2 dumbbells which I'm going to use to engage my tricep muscles. A minute ago we were working with bicep muscles because we were interested in what happened when our elbows flexed, when we got the concentric contraction in the bicep. Now, when my elbows extend, that's when we're doing the work. So we're still going to focus on elbows, but in this exercise, and this is the case with free weights, you've really got to be concerned about those inactive joints and keeping them stable, because the tendency on this lift is for your shoulders to start moving around when the weight starts getting heavy. So what you're going to notice is that I'm trying to go from the starting position to straight up to the ceiling with those dumbbells. In other words, my elbow is going to extend all the way up, and I'm just a ½ inch to all the way up because I want to keep that muscle engaged. And then when I come back down, I'm really going to try to work to keep my shoulder joints stable. So I'm going to do 8 repetitions, and let's see what this looks like. Okay, here comes 7, 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003, and there's 8. All right, our next exercise is a lower body exercise, and we're going to use free weights for this. We're going to use 2 dumbbells to do what's called a stationary lunge. Now, this primarily targets the front of the thigh or the quadricep muscles, but also the rear of the thigh, the hamstring group, and the buttocks. So what I'd like you to notice when we do this is how my knee is going to track right over my foot, not inside of it, not outside of it, and how also my kneecap is not going to extend past the toe box of my shoe. So I'm going to do 4 repetitions for each leg and demonstrate this exercise for you. And so you're also looking for that 2 seconds/3 seconds tempo, and rest assured that when I'm doing the work, when I'm coming up from that lunge, I'm engaging in the exhalation and the inhalation throughout the exercise. Okay, staying with the lower body now, but this time let's go to the other side of the thigh and really do some hamstring work. So this time when our knee flexes, that's when our muscle is going to contract, and then it's going to extend when the knee extends. And on this one we're really trying to build hamstring strength. So again, I'm just making sure that my knee is aligned with the pivot point of the machine, and it is. So that's good alignment for me. And normally what you can do on machines like this is look at the decal and sort of try to model the way that model is in the machine, and that's what you want to do. But in this case, it's knee alignment. So I'm going to get into the machine. I've adjusted a weight that's reasonable. We'll see if it's to fatigue or not. and I'm going to go through those same protocols. 2 seconds doing the work, 3 seconds when the weight stack is coming back down. I'm trying to be stable in every other joint of my body, knowing that the movement should only be in my knee joint. And I know that if I do that, it's my hamstrings that are really going to carry the load. So let's begin. So let's count 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003, and I'm going to try to avoid hearing the weight stack, because if I hear the weight stack over there, that means my muscles have gone out from tension, and I want to keep them under tension this entire time. I think this is the 4th repetition coming up. So again, 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003. Again, I'm resisting, sort of willing my body other than my hamstring to somehow do this lift. And I'm trying to focus all that's happening in my big hamstring muscle group. So one more repetition and we'll stop. We're going to finish now with the lower body, and we're going to do some calf work. Now that is to say, we're going to be concerned about our ankle joint. We're going to be happy that if our ankle joint is the only joint moving, it's our calves that are going to do the work. So on this machine, I'm going to put the balls of my feet right in the middle of that plate, of that pad, and now I'm going to extend my legs. But what I don't want to do is completely extend my leg and stress out the knee joint. I want to almost extend my leg, and so come to about 1 inch before my leg is extended. Where you start is where you finish. So I'm not going to move that knee joint. I'm going to be tempted to move that knee joint because the muscles of my upper leg really want to get involved here. But that would ruin what I'm trying to do, and that is build strength and size in my calves. So let's start with my toes pointed as much as my flexibility will allow, my toes pointed up toward the ceiling, and I'm going to try to get as much range of motion out of this as I can. That is, I'm going to try to point my toes at that wall in front of me, and we're going to try to do this in that 2 to 3 second protocol. So here we go. 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003. Now my knees will probably shake a little bit, but we're going to tip the hat to they're being pretty stable. And they're not going to, in other words, bounce up and down like that. So let's just work for stability at the knees, stability at the hips. I'm not trying to grip this thing and somehow will this lower body exercise into somehow in a crazy way forcing it to move because I'm doing something with my neck and my shoulders, which is crazy. So let's go through these repetitions. That's probably about 4. Here's 5. There's 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003. Yeah, I'm feeling the burn here. So here's 6. I'm going to try to get 10 repetitions out of this. This may be the one. 7, 8. I could probably do more. So let's do the last 2. Same protocol. Stability, range of motion, movement only in the ankle, and there we go. Okay, the last 2 exercises we're going to look at today will engage the core. Okay, so this one we're going to do what we call abdominal crunches, and we're going to do it on what's called a Swiss ball or a resistor ball. So what happens is I'm really focusing on now my rib cage, trying to close the space between my rib cage and my pelvis. If I can imagine bending forward enough, being pulled by my abs, by my abdominals enough to kind of close that space in that same 2 to 3 second protocol. 2 seconds when we're trying to close that space, 3 seconds when we're coming back down to the start position. Okay? So let me get in position here. We're working against gravity. And I'm going to try to resist the temptation of trying to do this falsely. Like, this is a false way to do that movement. My abs are not doing much when my shoulders and arms are trying to take over. It's bad for my neck. I'm really trying to be relaxed. I'm just going to cross my arms on my chest, and I'm thinking about my rib cage trying to touch my pelvis. It won't make it, but let's see how far I get in a 2 to 3 second protocol. Okay, now we can also change that, and it may help some of you to sort of reach up to the sky. And again, I'm not tugging on my neck, but I'm just trying to come up at about that angle to do this. Let's go back to here, just relax our arms, relax everything. 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003. And that's what we want to do abdominal crunches. Now, you're working against your own body weight, so while you can adjust weight stacks to get that degree of fatigue that you want, here you're just working with your body weight. One way you can increase this is to maybe hold a weight plate behind your head or hold a weight plate on your chest, or simply do more repetitions, up to about 15. Because one principle that I would say is that if your repetitions go beyond about 15, you're probably just getting a bad aerobic workout. You know, the weight's not heavy enough. And I think the protocol could be somewhere between 8 and 15 repetitions. The less conditioned you are, the more repetitions, and the better conditioned you are, maybe the lower in scale the repetitions with more weight. Okay, our last exercise today, again, we're going to do on the resistor ball. It's the opposite of what we just did. This time we're going to work with the spinal erectors, and we're going to be in a prone position to start. So what happens is, I'm going to start right with my thighs just touching this ball, and then I'm going to come forward and try to be like a weeping willow tree, like so. And then I just want to use my lower back or spinal erector muscles to extend my torso up in line with the rest of my body. Exhaling there. Inhaling here, counting 1001, 1002, 1001, 1002, 1003. Again, on these core exercises, this is the only time that our spine is changing position. So we're straightening here in the spine, and of course, there's the curve there. So let's work through one more of these. And that's good. Well, if we've emphasized throughout where we start is where we finish, let's finish where we started here at the arm curl machine. Just to say that hopefully this demonstration of 9 exercises on resistance training equipment, also using free weights, also using the Swiss ball or resistor ball, gives you an idea of how, if you want to integrate resistance training into your fitness routine, how you might go about it, where your focus is really going to be on stability throughout the body, and awareness that on a particular exercise, movement is going to occur in one joint or a couple of joints if it's a big exercise for the chest or the back or lower body involving the hips and the knee. So hopefully this gives you some insight, and if you choose to do this, I wish you the very best of luck. And most of all, I want to wish you good health and wellness for a lifetime.